Hi, lovelies. Hi, lovelies. Promises from God for women. Woman, wonderful, optimistic, marvelous, amazing, and noble. That's you. My name is Popson Francis, founder of Women Healing Together. Welcome to season 3 of Talk Truth. I'm so happy that you're here. This is the space and the place where we deal with all things women, all things you, and I help you to achieve the 4 E's. Here they are. Embrace self worth and find inner peace. Enjoy happy and healthy relationships. Equip self with knowledge to make better choices and empower other women and girls. Thank you so much for joining. I'm very, very excited. Please type in the chat where you're coming from. Let's do a shout out. Where are you coming from? Which part of the world you're from? Let us know in the comments. And now would be a great, great time to invite another sister. So take a few moments, not very long, and send this link, whether you're joining us on Facebook or on YouTube. Send this link to another sister because today we're going to be dealing or addressing the topic, what does it really mean to be a woman? What's all of that? Especially in the 21st century. What does it mean to be a woman? As I always say, let's dig in. I have to join the conversation today. Are you ready for it? Hi, Samantha. Hi, Suzanne. I see you. Brooklyn in the house. Thank you so much for joining. Today, to join the conversation with me, season 3, episode 1 of Talk Truth is Carleen Francis. Carleen, hey.
Hi,
Carleen, how are you doing today?
I am doing well. How are you, love? Good to see you.
Great to see you. It's been a while.
It's been too long.
I'm
Yes.
so happy to have you.
Thank
Carleen is
you.
joining the conversation. Could you tell us where you're coming from now, Carleen? Where are you?
I am in Columbus, Georgia.
Hey, I actually drove by a few months ago, but we were heading to the airport early in the morning and I saw Columbus and I'm like, oh my, I wonder how close Carly
Oh,
is, and I couldn't stop by. So I send my love from there.
oh,
So Carleen is an author. She is a speaker. She is a trauma survivor and thriver. And we're going to be talking a lot about her book today because she's amazing. Plus, she is the baddest. In Jamaica, we'd say the baddest. Real tech in the place. We lived in Michigan together and she's just amazing. So thank you so much, Carleen, for joining.
yes. Thank you
Yeah.
for having me.
The next person who is joining this conversation is Janiel Salmon. Come on in.
Hi, ladies.
Hey,
Hi,
Jenny.
Carleen. Hi, Popsicle.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good, good.
Lovely. So, Janiel is a communication strategist. So, when you're talking about flyers, when you're talking about communication strategy and impact, she's the one. She's the one. So, for those of you who have seen Janiel and I before, Janiel and I are blood sisters. She is
Mm.
my younger sister. All right. I can't say baby because she says
I
it.
love how you didn't use that B word.
And then Carleen Francis is my spiritual sister. You see her
Yes,
laughing, Miss Francis is. Yay!
yes.
So happy to have you. If you're just joining, please type in the chat where you're coming from as you join the conversation this evening. What does it mean to be a woman? Ladies, how are you feeling about this topic? Like give me your feedback right now. Who wants to go first? Like how you feel?
This
Listen,
is,
this topic is forcing me. Sorry, Carleen. This
yes,
topic
go
is
ahead,
forcing
go
me,
ahead.
forcing me to sit with this term womanhood. Yes, we hear it through all over the place. We hear it being used, but I don't recall ever sitting with it and thinking, Jan, what makes up your womanhood? what is womanhood? So I'm excited to jump in because I'm going to be peeling the layers from my own skin and finding out what womanhood means to me in
Yes,
particular.
I am excited to talk about it too because I know as women we wear so many hats and we always have this togetherness about us. And what does it mean to be a woman? If somebody, if a man was to step into our shoe, would they be able to handle the role as a woman? So I am so excited to dive into this to figure out how what is it and how what it takes to be a woman.
I hear both of you and I'm agreeing so much. And ladies who are in the chat, start typing right now. Have you ever thought about it? And I agree with Janiel so much. It struggled me. I
Mhm.
am a woman. And in the context of our conversation today, a woman who is someone who has female genitalia. God gave you all the
Yes.
hormones and you have a vagina, you have the breast, and you have more estrogen and all of those things that physiologically comprise a woman. So that's the context in which we speak. But honestly, when I sat down, I'm like, what does it mean to be a I struggle? I had to go to Google to find out what other women were saying. Anybody did that?
Oh yes, briefly, briefly.
So I want to take it a notch as we continue this conversation about what it means to be a woman. When you're a girl and you thought about coming out of your parents' house or coming out of your auntie house or your uncle house and you think about womanhood, you turn 18 or whatever age and you say, I'm going to be a woman. What did you think of at that time?
For me, it wasn't a question about being a woman. I had to be a woman because at
Ooh,
the age of 16, I was on my own pretty much. So I had to learn to be a woman. And there was no if, ends, or but about it. You just fall into the role and voila, you're a woman.
wow, that's crazy. Carlene, if you could dial back like 7-year-old Carlene, 6-year-old Carlene, maybe 10-year-old Carlene, and you saw the females around you, what do you think womanhood meant at that time? What are some things that kind of stood out to you? And you can think about that or you could chime in now.
Yes, one thing that I loved was the nourishing part of being a woman. I loved when I was picked up by my bigger cousin and I was fed, I was given the best, and I was loved. And when my grandfather would make the attempt to see if he wants to hit me or something, and my grandmother shielding me or even reprimanded me. At one point, she tried to beat me by sitting on me, but I couldn't stay still, so she couldn't get to beat me. But just the nourishing part of a woman, that was always attractive to me.
Mercy. And you know what? I'm going to steal your answer because I never had the word nurturing, but I'm going to steal it.
Yes.
Danielle, going back 8, 9, 10, even 11, 12-year-old Danielle, what was womanhood like for you at that time? What did you think it was?
So, Popsy, we grew up in a woman-centric home
Yes.
where mommy would be the head of the house. As we would say now, she was the head of the house. And for me, as I'm reflecting now at little Jan, womanhood, just looking at my mom now, years ago, it was just leading, being independent, being able to stand on your own feet, man or no man, being able to do it and do it well. But the flip side of that was being able to do it, juggling so many things, two children at the time, work, everything. But somehow being that superwoman without complaining.
Mm,
Yes. Yes.
That's what's standing out in my mind now when I look at mom. So that was womanhood for me, in addition to the physiological stuff, right? So
right.
the period pain every month, I would say you and mommy under it, so those things. But just from how you operate and navigate life, that's what comes to mind. When I went to high school, and we can talk about later, talk about that later. Being in an all girl environment. So when I
Mm.
went to all girl school, now there was an added layer where it's listen, you need to not be ordinary and raucous. And that was the attitude from my vice principal. And my principal would say, act with some decorum, ladies. So then it's not so much the independence now and approaching life with rigor and perseverance, but it was no more. You need to be delicate.
Yeah,
Yes.
You need to ensure that you are ladylike. You need to ensure that you have it all together, look wise. So your uniform is supposed to be a particular length. You need to have on your slip because
yeah,
the males that go to the all boys school should have been looking straight through your uniform. So it
yes,
was more that in terms of behavior.
yeah.
For me, that was what womanhood was.
Like
Mm,
both of you are like hitting the nail on the head because it's such a dynamic concept. And what is standing out to me now is Samantha in the chat. Samantha says, I actually never thought about what womanhood means. So this is blowing my mind, Carlene, because if we're women, that's what we say. We're women. I'm a woman. And if we don't take the time to think about what that means, how are we being something that we don't know? Carlene, talk to me like,
it's mind-boggling, honestly,
yeah.
because here we are trying to fill these shoes of being this woman, altogether woman, but we have no idea who we are or what we're supposed to look. What does it look like to be a woman? Oftentimes we look at our mothers, we look at our aunts, so we look at our neighbors, people in the community and at church, and we gather bits and pieces from them. And we take their good qualities and some of the bad qualities,
Yes,
we analyze it and figure, okay, I can be that. I can follow in that suit, but not really sitting down and identifying and saying, okay, who are you? What type of woman are you? What drives you? What motivates you? What makes you feel sad? What makes you feel like you're less than? We have never stopped, or we have never stopped to talk about it either. That's not something that we discuss.
it, it's crazy that at our varying ages that
Yes,
we're now just having this conversation. Someone should have sat us down, right? And should have said, these are some of the traits of being a woman and being a lady. And Carlene is so right. We were just little girls taking bits and pieces, and trying to stitch together what it means to be a woman. And
mhm,
now at 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 80, and we're like, what does it mean? But
yes.
this is a role we have been carrying all our lives. It's crazy.
And the funniest thing you see, Pops, is that oftentimes a lot of us die not really knowing
Mercy.
who we are. You know, I heard somebody say that the grave is one of the richest places on earth because so many of us die with the things that, we never get to birth who we really are. And because this is not something that is discussed. I remember going into guidance counseling class back then when they have it. I don't know if they do have it today, but we talk about, okay, when you reach a certain age, this is what happened, and so on and so forth and stuff. But nobody really sat us down and say, okay, you're a woman. These are some of the things you're going to experience. This is how you're supposed to behave. No, we gather those things by experiences, and
Yes.
that's what make us who we are today.
Yeah. I actually, going back to the initial question, and Carlene, thank you so much. I think I feel Samantha. I feel Samantha. I don't know if you're in your house. I don't know if you're in your car. I don't know where you are. But when you type mercy, I feel like I feel it. Althea in the chat, Althea is saying we need to make more effort to support and nurture each other as women, to uplift and encourage each other. It's not too late. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. So
Yes.
I'm 34. I don't know if the other ladies want to tell their age. That's fine. It's not too late to have this conversation.
No.
It's not too late, and we're having the conversation here at Women Healing Together. So I heard from both of you. Let me talk about me growing up and what I thought womanhood was, or womanhood is. I thought that it was this maverick, This woman who fears nothing, who needs no man, who is very educated, who can step into any room and conquer. I never foresee challenges. I never foresee pain. I just saw this astute, eloquent criminal lawyer just walking into places, movers and shakers. Nobody asked question because she. A lot
Yeah.
of looking back now, those childhood perceptions that we had of womanhood, were they realistic? Is
Oh
that what
no,
you are
hell
living?
no. Hell
Johnny
no.
is like, hell no, no.
Listen. I was chatting with a friend of mine recently, and I'm saying, girl, they fed us a lie. They fed us
Mercy.
a lie. Adulthood is no joke. Because when I was younger, and you thought similar to what you said, Popsy, you need to be educated, nothing will come up against you that you can't handle. You need to be tough for this world, so that you are not sabotaged, so that nobody not step over you, basically. But the emotional side of womanhood, that side, it was never in the puzzle. It was never a part of the whole picture of womanhood. The hurts, the multiple hats. So in my head, it was go to school, get a good job, get a house, get a car, and just live your own life, and you're good. Everything is gonna be smooth. That was the picture, false picture that was fed to us, unfortunately. And so while you were talking earlier, and while Carlene was speaking earlier, I started thinking we cannot define womanhood after me being what 13 years into this thing called womanhood. I cannot define it from the get go when you would have invited me to this show. Perhaps it's because I'm not self aware. And
Mm,
so many of us, we are walking around as women, men. I know this is a woman show, but as people in general,
yeah,
and we're not self aware. And as we talk about womanhood, it looks different. It looks differently for different people. And the
correct.
only way that we're going to know what it is for us as a woman is if we start that self awareness journey.
Look,
Without it,
mm, merciful Father. That's exactly what Carlene was saying. Samantha says, all I knew was that whoa, listen to this. Look
wife
at
and
this.
mother.
Look at this, Carlene. Sam says, all I knew was that I'm to be a wife and a mother. Is it safe to
Wow.
say that woman was defined by the roles that we carry and not by the awareness of self? Melissa said, very thought provoking. Carlene, is it true? And
It's
that
Yes,
time, yeah?
true.
yes. And
But
going back to Jamaica style, growing up in Jamaica, you're taught to clean the house and cook the food and make sure the house is in order. That is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because it's like you're not supposed to feel or um have a day where you just not into it. I remember when I first got married and I had the flu. I was hurting. I was sick. And I tried to stay in bed a little longer that morning, because I was feeling so sick. And my husband expect me to get up and make him breakfast, make my daughter's breakfast, get her ready and do everything else as if there was nothing wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
And we do it. We do it
Mm-hmm.
all the time. We do it. We never take a day and say, you know what, I'm not feeling too well today. I'm just going to stay in bed and things flow. No, it does not. We have to drag ourselves out of that bed and do the things that we normally do as if we were healthy.
That is so
That is
true.
what is expected of us as a woman. Yes.
That is.
Pops, I
I just want to
just before you
interject.
comment,
Okay, go
sure.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, I insist. Go ahead, go
'Cause
ahead, go
I
ahead.
forget, I'm not 16 anymore. I forget, right? So here's a thought. I hope this is going to be thought provoking. Ladies, women in the chat, my lovelies in the chat, I see the comments coming. How can we expect others to treat us a particular way when we have not set those expectations for ourselves?
Yeah.
how
Just
can we expect the men in our lives, the
Mm,
bosses in our lives, the other women in our lives to treat us with a particular standard when we don't even know what those standards are? Listen, a commercial break by Lisa, the number one fan. She's on. She brought me this cup for my birthday. So I have to stick because that question, it says sometimes you forget you're awesome. So this is a reminder. Ching 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 ching. But the truth is, if we don't know how awesome we are, how can we expect other? Talk to me,
yeah, it's true, Popsy. It's true. And as I was looking at that comment, don't remember who it was from, about all she knew was how to be a wife and a mother. For us, and I'm talking for you now, Pops,
Mercy.
that that imagery was a little bit different, certainly for me, because perhaps out of protest, now that I'm thinking about it. So I saw Mommy on a Sunday, and it was work on top of work on top of work. When Mommy was gainfully employed, she would work long hours, come home to cook a meal, and slave over the stove.
Yeah.
And when she got married and we saw how the marriage was, for me, immediately, I'm not going to be a mother. I'm definitely not
Mhm.
going to be a wife. And so the imagery of womanhood that we saw, well, that I saw around me back then, I said no out of protest. That's not going to be me, because what it represented was just slavery
Yeah.
almost. It
Yeah.
mm.
was self sabotage. And so that, though I saw that imagery of a woman, I said it wouldn't be mine at all.
Mm.
But let's talk about what it is now if I actually stuck to that.
Yes, it's so true. It's so very true. There are some comments coming in. Melissa actually says our mothers can't teach us what they weren't taught.
Exactly.
Talk to me, Carly. Why you say that? But talk to us. Yeah, it's true.
Oftentimes we expect people to, we have these expectations, but if somebody doesn't know, there's no way they can give it to us. It's just like going into a relationship. This man who has never been fathered, who has never been told by a man how to treat a woman. But and yet we have grown up in a home where our father does this, and our father is a king and whatever. And here now we're coming together. He never been father, doesn't have a father, and we're coming together. We're There's going to be a lot of fail expectation because we're expecting him to play the roles that our father had played. No, and he, never having been fathered, don't know how to love us, and so therefore there's going to be a rift in the relationship. Somebody cannot give us what they don't have,
Yeah.
because if you ask me for $100 and I don't have it, there's no way I can give it to you when I don't have it.
Unless you're going to steal it or fake it.
Exactly. And oftentimes, a lot of them fake it until the real issues of life start coming up, and then they don't know how to deal with it. And that's what I realize, even even now that I'm older. And you told your age earlier, so I'm gonna be bold and tell mine. I'm 53 years old.
Girl, you don't look it,
Wow,
girl.
you don't look it. You don't look it.
Thank you. And I was dating someone recently, and I was grossly disappointed. And I had to slap myself and say, "Girl, wake up. Why are you disappointed? You knew that this was what he represented. You knew that he didn't have it in him to give you what you're looking for." And I was the silly one, keep going back, hoping that he would change, and keep hoping that the way I treat him, he would learn and he would grasp the concept. But he doesn't have it to give me.
Yeah.
So I'm just, it's like beating a dead horse.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Mm-hmm.
already dead. He can't
Mm-hmm.
move. But
Yeah.
yet still we keep going back, beating, and expecting that he's gonna change when he's not. So
Mercy.
it takes the realization for me to, you know what, this is not for me. And I stepped away from it.
Good for you. Good for you for choosing and knowing what standard, what you're looking for. Because you see, we here struggling trying to define womanhood and we are women. Jenny, I see a thought. It's percolating.
I was just listening to Caroline, and as she spoke, I know she was talking about um a male, but when we apply that standard to womanhood, could it be Popsy and Carlene and the other lovely ladies on the chat? Could it be that we have accepted the various roles that we think womanhood is all about and what it carries, and some of those roles are really not for us?
Mm.
So it's those roles that we have somehow, some way accepted them with open arms. But when we really sit with ourselves, we realize that no, but this part of being a woman and how society has carved it out to be, I really don't have to accept this part.
Mm-hmm.
There's no rule that says I must accept this part. And then some way we are accepting it, and because we aren't fulfilling it how we think we should, then we think we are failures.
Yes,
Mm.
yes. And before you speak, Pops,
No, no, go ahead and talk, man.
so often we see women that are so successful, so educated, so they have it together. They work out and they look good. They're not struggling with weight, and they have such low self-esteem.
Yeah.
Why do we do that? Why? And we're always comparing ourselves to the next woman. Even
Mm-hmm.
okay, so let's go back to the relationship thing now. Even if we broke up from someone and the person is dating someone else, guess what we do? We go look up that person and we try to compare ourselves to that person. What is it that she has that I don't have? Even though that person was already bad for us, we still try to compare ourselves. I hear it all the time. Sitting down with clients and they're
Yeah.
talking to me or pulling up a Facebook page from someone that they used to date. Girl, you're not dating him. Why do you care who he's dated? Come on now. Yes, look at her hair. Look at her skin. Look at. Oh, for crying out sake, ladies, stop doing that to yourselves. Stop
Yes.
it.
No,
Yes.
a man has snuck into the chat. Andrew, we see you. Let us know what you think, Andrew, because as you said earlier, we need a man on the panel. We don't have a man today. They will come on eventually. But for you as a man, I'm assuming that Andrew, you're a man. If you are a man, what does woman Michael, another man has snuck
Yes.
No
chat.
man.
Look here, Michael and Andrew, what does womanhood mean to you? What does why am I messing up this pronunciation? What does womanhood mean to you? Let us know because we'd love to hear from you. Johnny has said something earlier that we obviously see the physiological
Mm-hmm.
period. You develop breasts. Generally speaking, we have more estrogen. We have female features. But the part of womanhood that we were definitely shortchanged on is the emotional part of it. But before we delve into that and talk about self awareness, for those of you who are joining for the first time, if you're here live or if you're watching the recording, we want you to know how you can get in touch with Women Healing Together. Sir Engineer, please go ahead. You see, Andrew, we're coming to you. Perfect. So you can get in touch with us there. You see these men? I love the men, but the men. The question is asked by the men in the chat. When you think about womanhood, what comes to mind? And the first thing Andrew put in the chat is help me.
God help me.
And
Wow.
it seems derogatory, but especially in the context that we normally hear it, but having learned from my husband and looking at it theologically, and so it's not something that is subservient or demeaning. We understand. But let's talk about the emotion. Ooh, a big hell of a comment just came in. Who is that, sir engineer? Let's see. Kimberly Edwards. Hi, Kim. Kim says, must most have absolutely accepted, and so you have many women who are struggling to fit into the box given to them. It's
Mm-hmm.
up to us to create our own narrative and stop allowing others to dictate how we are defined. We most certainly are not defined by our domestic abilities. Praise
Yes.
God. God, this is so true. And guess what happens? Samantha said it earlier, and I think Althea alluded to it as well. Womanhood means being a wife and being a mother. What happens if you never get married? What happens if
What
you never
happened?
have
A
children?
child,
This
yes,
is a
You're
dilemma.
not a
mm,
woman. Hey, you're not a woman. What is
You
wrong
yes.
with you,
you are
bro?
less than.
But
You're
people will
less
tell you
than.
that. They will say, wait, you know, woman. Yes, they will tell you. Yes.
It's crazy. So Melissa is also saying in the chat, could it be, and this is a question to us, could it be that women struggle with womanhood because they lacked a meaningful whoa, daddy issues? Am I hearing daddy issues? You ladies
It
don't have
could
daddy
be.
issues, right? No daddy issues?
You're talking to Carlene.
We talk.
Oh, you must be talking to your sister, not me.
That is a look here, Melissa. That is a whole can of worms that that can needs an entire session to delve
Yes,
into.
that
Daddy
is,
issues.
yes.
Let me write it down, Melissa, because you just gave me a topic to talk about. Daddy
Yes, daddy issues.
issues.
Yes.
I'm writing it down. Johnny, I see
Mhm.
you coming, and then Carly, go ahead.
Oh, no, 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 no. Yeah. Go ahead. I was
I
saying
was
yes.
just
We
thinking,
need another
yeah, I
segment
agree.
for daddy issues.
Yes.
Definitely.
I agree. I definitely agree with that comment about that. Well, that question, could it be that we struggle because of our daddy issues? But then, whether or not the father is around, the mother is present.
Mm-hmm.
The mother is the woman. And so I'm thinking, even if she never learns from her dad, or based on the interaction, the relationship with her father, even if it's non existent, the mother is present. And so the mother has that responsibility to teach her little girl what it means to be a woman,
Mm-hmm.
especially if a father isn't around. Now you have the platform to say, how can, as a woman, how should you allow a man to treat you? Daddy isn't around, yes, but then you can set up that conversation to explore what it means because you're the one who is a woman in the dynamics in the relationship.
I get you. I get you, and I definitely see because it takes a woman to teach another woman. But I can tell you this, and I've read it in many books, and I've heard many mental health therapists and people talk about it. And I know we have some mental health therapists here and stuff. Kim, I know you're in the counseling field as well. We are first informed about how a man should treat us based on our father treated us. And so, if a man is not around to show us that this is what you should expect, this is how men think. When I hear women say to me, my father taught me how men think, and my father taught me what to expect from men, and how should I operate around them, and the certain signals that I can bring off as a woman to say I'm easy or I'm have a high standard. When I hear women talk like that, trust me, me feel jealous.
Of course.
Mm.
I never
Mhm.
had that.
I
But
never
I
heard
said,
that.
yeah, story for other days. Michael chimed in. Michael, let's see Michael's comment. Michael says, womanhood is supporting the needs of her husband, understanding what he needs to function as the leader of a household. Womanhood for me is being bold of the power she has while submitting to him. Janiel, go ahead.
I
Michael,
have a question, Michael
Michael.
Parks. Michael Parks, I have a question for you. So, if womanhood is supporting the needs of her husband, the women who are not married, what stands up for them? What goes for them? So those women who are not married, what is womanhood for them? They're not women at all. Talk to me. Talk to me,
Michael,
Michael. Send a response in the chat.
I want us to take a moment here and we're going to delve into the segment called Truth versus Feelings.
Okay.
Truth versus Feelings. Feeling says that you are only a woman based on the role that you carry out. Feelings and society says that if I'm not hitting all the targets and all the check marks of society, then I am somehow lacking. But what does truth say? In Jeremiah 29, verse 11 to 13, the Lord says, to you, woman, for I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Then shall ye call upon me, and ye shall go and pray unto me, and I will hear you. And ye shall seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. That's the truth for this evening. Let's delve into it. We have spoken about all the expectations of society. We've spoken about what we thought womanhood to be as girls. Now we are here. I want to set the foundation that Janiel and actually Carlene said earlier, that and Kim alluded to it earlier, and even all the ladies in the chat out there, Melissa, Sam, and others, that womanhood may look different for each of us, but there are some fundamental principles that we can definitely say all women or all women should have this. Think about that. If you were to talk about some fundamental attributes, characteristics, traits, what would those be, Janiel and Carlene? And those who are in the chat as well, let us know what those fundamental principles are. Janiel, Michael has responded to you. Michael, you ready? Because it looks like we're going to a powwow today in love. So Michael says, doing for herself what she would eventually do for that man she has been praying for. So I'm getting Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, showing up for herself the way she would show up for her husband. I think, Michael, what I think you're defining is a wife. And not all women are wives
or will ever be
or will
wise.
ever be wives. And I think those are separate things, right? It takes a woman to be a wife, but not
We
all,
hope.
we hope, right? Hot water. Right? But not all women will be wives. What are some fundamental things? What does it really take to be a woman? I'm going to start off by saying I heard Van Zant. I can't pronounce her first name and I don't want to butcher it. Iania or Ilania, one of those top Hollywood psychologist people, Van Zant. She says, the greatest weapon, the greatest gift, the greatest attribute of a woman is her silence. And then I was on TikTok and I heard a man say that they were in the club. Everybody was in the club. They were having a good time. And this girl, this woman walked in. She said not a word. She wasn't condescending, but her energy and her spirit and her command drew the attention of everybody in the room. And all the men, he said, even me, I felt less than because I know that I did not meet that high standard. And so I shrinked. I didn't approach her. Talk to me. What does it mean to be a woman?
Wow, I
For
want that
me,
command.
Yeah.
I really want
for
that
me,
command.
I tell you, Carlene, for me, Carlene said it earlier, it's the N word, nurturing. When I think of womanhood, that's what it means to me. But many times when you think about nurturing, we have the external view of we have to nurture somebody. But nurturing, in my estimation, as it relates to womanhood, is first nurturing ourselves,
Yes.
nurturing our own dreams, nurturing our own aspirations, nurturing our own personality. We talked about self awareness earlier, nurturing us first, and then we can start thinking about nurturing others. That's one thing that I would say is fundamental to womanhood.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I
Yeah.
agree with you 100%. I believe my view is a woman should be, um how should I put it now? Apart from being a nurturing to herself, do self-care. You know, oftentimes I look at women, and I'm in the beauty industry. So I look at women and I just notice how they just carry themselves just loose, just no care, nothing, no poise, no, they just, in Jamaica would say, then just let go.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know how to sit, how to walk, how to talk. Some women, they're just loud. They just drag themselves. Sometimes if you go to the airport, you see these women coming in with all these things wrapped around their head, and they're pulling their bed slippers, or they're in the PJs. And I'm like, somebody need to talk to this young person, and talk to them about so being aware of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
the present
Mm-hmm.
that the present that you have, who you are. I believe a woman need to carry herself a certain way. And just like how you mentioned that the man told you that when this woman walked in, and he had to shrink within himself because he knew that he was not he was below her standard. That's how I see a woman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not that you're proud and not that you're too good, but carry yourself in a certain way. Have an aura about you,
Yeah.
and a presence. Being educated, being clean, smelling good. Clean is so important to me. There are too many women walking around smelling like, oh boy. Anyway, that's another topic for another day.
Yeah.
You know?
For thank you so much. For me, womanhood is exuding elegance,
Yes.
confidence, being strong, but at the same time, having a safe space and place where she's not afraid to be weak, quote unquote,
Yes.
to be vulnerable, having that self awareness, as we say, where we know we can take on anything. And the truth is that we can take on anything, but not having the frame of mind where we feel that we need to take on everything. Hello, somebody. Hello, somebody. Am I alone? Yeah. To
No.
know that whatever life throws at us, we're able to stand with God. We're able to stand with whatever support. He has given us this internal strength that I think, not bashing the men, a lot of men, they don't have that. You find a woman who loses everything. She loses family, she loses children, miscarriage after miscarriage. She starts over from scratch, and somehow she picks herself up and she surpasses and surmounts all the challenges. But at the same time, a humbler woman, a
Yes.
humbler human being you can't find. I
Mhm.
don't believe in being cocky and being arrogant and shouting at the top of the mountain that I've achieved this and I've done that. That's just being very boastful. Melissa says that, well, Shamika says it's important to love yourself before you can love anyone else. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord.
Yes.
Praise the
Take
Lord.
care of yourself first. Popsy, one of the
Yes.
fundamental things that I think make up womanhood is intuition. We
Ooh.
Yes.
cannot stifle our intuition because I think God just gave us that as a gift, that gut feeling that guides us and helps us to navigate life and its
Mhm.
challenges. That part is an important
Yes.
element of womanhood for
Mhm.
me.
Yes.
I love that.
I
I love
agree.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
I think this is a really good note to close the conversation on before we get closing thoughts. Althea, we could not have left here this evening without saying this, and I'm happy that you have brought this to the fore. She says, listen for it. It's certainly a journey to womanhood. I love this. It's a journey. So we're not here today saying Janielle and Carlene and Popsan are not here saying this is the standard. And once you have reached here, you've arrived. It's
No.
going to take us our entire life to reach and to develop because it's going to change. Womanhood
To
for different,
evolve.
exactly, for
Yes.
different women, for different females, it's going to look different at each stage of our life. Talk to us about that. Has womanhood changed for you over the
Oh
period of
yes.
50? Yeah, talk to us.
Definitely for me, and I know Carlene has some thoughts here for sure. So earlier I said when I was younger, the whole wife and mother thing, it now go work because it's a whole lot of baggage, a whole lot of burden on the mind based on what I saw. So that for me was womanhood. And then in my head, I thought womanhood for me would never look like that. No, it has evolved because
Mhm.
now I'm a wife and hopefully whatever the Lord has in store, I will be a mother. I so I I've come to realize that how I show up as a woman is totally different. I'm not always so very strong and in command and the boss lady when I walk in a room, the floor shakes. I'm not always that. I'm not always confident and bold. I've been discovering that recently. And so I have to get comfortable with how womanhood for me has evolved, how it has been defined and how I am defining it for myself. You know
Yes,
what I mean? So now I see when I see a broken woman in need of support, no, she's not weak. Perhaps she's strong
exactly.
because she's reaching out for support or she has a
Yes.
sister, uh, blood or not, who she can call on. You know what I mean? So womanhood definitely has evolved for me. When I look at 18, 19-year-old Danielle who said, no man, no
Yeah,
man can. I'm independent. I'm opening my own door.
yeah,
It has changed a whole lot.
yeah. Carney?
Yes, womanhood has evolved for me, even though I really do like my doors open and my chairs pull out and all those things. I do love it. I've always loved that.
Yes.
But as a woman, getting older, now in my 50s, and I've seen, first I look and see the younger women struggling with their own identity and going through the phases. I just want to speak to them, like encourage them and uplift them. And oftentimes in my job too, I talk to women and I'm like, you're too hard on yourself. Look at
Mhm.
what you have accomplished. Look at where you are.
Mhm.
Keep going. Don't do that. So I get the opportunity to speak to young women. Now that I am older and looking at myself, there are things that I would have loved to have changed back when I was in my 20s. A
Mhm.
lot of things I would have changed. Things that I held that I thought was so important, trust me, are not that important. It's not the
Mhm.
end of the world. And no, I'm more of a layback kind of a woman, a woman that sits and observe
Yeah.
and more thoughtful and more quick, not so quick to speak. You know, you're laughing at me,
No,
Popson.
I'm not. I'm agreeing.
Yeah, not being so quick to speak, but to sit and observe and listen and watch and just be more thoughtful.
Yeah.
I have now learned to be a little bit more thoughtful instead of saying the first thing that comes to my mind.
For
Yeah.
we are journeying together. Women healing together.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. We feel so much better when we heal together. For me, womanhood has definitely changed.
Mm,
Definitely. I'm no longer, I'm trying to be, I'm on the path of no longer thinking I have to debate everything and I
mm,
have to be right and that I have to be strong all the time. Well, it doesn't mean that I have it together all the time. Who says that I have to? When I have Jesus and I have my husband and I have my sister and I have friends who say, you can lean on me. I had a friend one time, she said to me, there are days when we would call each other and we kind of develop this great bond. And she'd say to me, I would call her and she'd say, I need you to carry me because I can't carry myself. And when
mm.
I heard that, I know she needed me. And there were days I would say to her, I need you to carry me because
Yeah.
I can't carry myself right now. So when we talk about womanhood being, when I say being weak, it's not about being less than, it's about being vulnerable and sitting in that
Yeah.
space. Womanhood for me now means instead of sharing every little challenge and situation I have with people around me. I can go to God and I can pray and I
Yes.
can war in the spirit for my marriage and war in the spirit for my siblings and my parents, knowing that I have power. I have power in the spiritual and not to use so many times as women. We depend on the power that we have in the physical, the
Mhm.
education, the beauty, the charisma, all the accolades, all the things that we deem to be powerful. But
Mhm.
that's not it, as Carlene says. That's just a part of what it means to be a woman. What about that spiritual woman and the spiritual power that we have in Jesus? Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Hey, hey, hey.
And one thing I want to share, Pops,
Yeah.
women, we need to stop bashing each other. We need to stop.
Carlene,
We,
we're going to have an episode about that. Why is it that women don't get along? But finish your point, but just letting you know, we
yeah,
need to bring her back. Yes,
we need to stop bashing each other. We never will look like each other. We'll never, no matter how good we are, there's always somebody who looks better, more educated, smarter,
Right.
have it more together, makes more money, have the sexy husband and the fancy, the kids, the fancy. There's always going to be somebody, but we always bashing each other. I
yeah,
don't understand. It's ah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't understand why we do that.
yeah. That's right.
And another thing too that would love for us to dive into is the fact that oftentimes okay, in the relationship, me and this relationship thing now, that's a phase I'm going through.
That's
Um,
okay.
um, okay, so the man that we dated or was in a relationship now has moved on, and guess what? He's marrying someone else. And we are somehow friends of that man. No, we're friends. We're not dating, so we're friends. And I've heard women say it all the time. And I guess I used to say it too. Well, I was here before her, and I'm going to call him whenever I want, and he's my friend. And we try to outdo the current wife.
Mercy.
And this is this is so distasteful of us women that we do that to one another. We need to do better when that is concerned. If we end a relationship, we just need to move on and let it go, and not try to outdo the person that he has chosen. Stop bashing one another. That is our new motto. Stop bashing one another. Yeah.
Hashtag stop bashing one another.
Yes. Women,
I
yes.
know it's true. It's
Yes.
true. Like I guess Sue Pop say one of the fundamental pillars of womanhood is know your boundaries.
Mm,
Yes.
Know your boundaries. We need to
yes,
know our boundaries.
yes, yes, yes.
Like, that
Having
is
boundaries, having boundaries for ourselves and having
For
boundaries for other
mhm.
people. Praise God,
yes.
hallelujah. We are at the last segment. Ladies, it has been wonderful. All the lovelies in the chat. If the premiere episode 1 of Talk Truth, season 3 has been absolutely amazing and you learned something and you love it and you love it and you love it, please send your comments in the chat. Show Women Healing Together some love. Show Carlene and Janiel and Popsan some love. Show all the women around the world some love. I do see Althea's comment, but for this segment, it's called Fix My Crown. Fix my crown, sister. Fix my crown. Talk truth. Fix my crown. Thank you so much. This is the time, Janiel and Carlene, we're going to succinctly fix the crown of each other by saying something positive to each other. Janiel, start off.
Sure, no problem. So let me just get a little closer for the ladies online.
Fix your crown. Fix my crown.
So many times, ladies, our crowns are tilted for many reasons. Societal pressure, internal pressure that we just put on ourselves, really. I want to remind you today, the last day in April 2023, that you are more than enough, whatever it is. that you are, the situation that you're in, whatever situation you're heading into, God has prepared you for it. You are more than enough. So extend to yourself a cup of grace. Hashtag cup of grace.
Hashtag cup of grace.
Cup of
Praise
grace.
God. Carlene, fix your
Oh,
sister's crown.
oh wow. My sisters, um, I'm coming from a place of hurt and pain and healing. And I want to extend to you the crown of forgiveness,
Mm,
forgiving the person that hurt you and moving on, and forgiving yourself for allowing that person to do whatever they did. I believe that if you extend forgiveness, you will shine, you will live, you will walk in your purpose that God has for you. Letting go of the hurt, letting go of the pain, just let it go and walk away. Don't be mad, just let it go, and surround yourself with people that will uplift you and are positive. And that is my thing for you today, forgiving people that hurt you and letting it go.
wonderful. My
Hashtag let it
lovelies,
go.
my sisters, Janielle, Carlene, and all the wonderful women in the chat and the man them who sneak in. I want to fix your crown. You may have made mistakes. You may have not been a good person, a good wife, a good mother, a good daughter, but you are able to walk forward in victory.
Yes.
None of us was given a manual when we exited our mother's wombs to say this is what womanhood looks like. But you have done the best based on what you know. And as God continues to teach you, you're going to be even better.
Yes.
Fix your crown. Yay. As we close off for today, and please get your last comments in because look here, can I shout out the Dunamis SDA ladies? Janielle, Carlene, my
Yes.
sisters are here. I see you. My Dunamis women, I see you. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate the support. My love you know. So for to close off, we want to fix Carlene's crown today, Janielle, by letting you know that Carlene is a published author and she recently published her first book, volume one. It's titled The Wounded Bird. We want you, please, please, please. You can either go to Amazon and order today your copy of The Wounded Bird. Before we even come to this one, Mr. Engineer, let's go back to the previous one. We want you to order your copy of The Wounded Bird on Amazon. And even better, I would love for you to reach out to Women Healing Together, okay, and come back here because I'm going to be putting the link in the description right after we end today. So you can go to her website and you can order a copy of The Wounded Bird. Carly, we're going to have you back, okay? But in 30 seconds, talk to us about The Wounded Bird.
Oh, the wounded bird is this young girl that was taken from the home that she knew at an early age of 8 and was brought into a home where she had to survive abuse, verbal, physical, sexual abuse. And that trigger a lot of things. When she grew up as an adult, those memories start coming back and plaguing her. And in my second book, it's going to be talking about the suicidal attempts that she made in her life and how she overcame. So yes, you need to read it.
Yes,
It's a lot of information, country life, and pops on. One of the things that we need to let people know, this is absolutely true. There's nothing fake in this in the wounded bird, and that's my life story. And yes,
I'm proud of you, girl.
yes, thank you,
I'm proud of you. God bless you.
thank you.
Buy up the book, them people.
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you so very much. I enjoyed the chat today.
Oh
It was
yes.
lovely.
I love it. Yes,
Yes,
I
I
love it.
enjoyed it. It was
Yes,
lovely. All our wonderful lovelies. who came on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you so much for joining. We
Yeah.
love you all the time, every time. Uh, Here on Women Healing Together, a new video is published every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're in Jamaica, it's 5 p.m. And the last Sunday of each month, we'll be here with an episode of Talk Truth. So block your calendars to the last Sunday of May already, so nobody takes the slot. You can follow us. Mr. Engineer, could you please replay that video about how the lovelies can get in touch with women healing? Thank you so much. And if you want to join the chat, a free channel. So if you want to join the chat, reach out. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, email. Of course, you can come on. Yeah, I would love to have you on as we chat together. I'm going to close off with Suzanne Samuel's comment. She says, amazing first episode. Can't wait for what's coming in the rest of season 3. Put back Janielle and Carlene on. As we say, as we close off, we heal so much
So much
better
better
when
when
we
we
heal
heal
Together.
together.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.